It's what you have control with is in your means of control.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot of
Greedy.
time how informed you are. But it wasn't a bad thing because you could pretend. 100%. I feel like envy drove a lot of my goals as a kid. I think once again, jealousy is like competition. It falls somewhere in the middle.
Painting a picture of them based on an action just because they had money. I think that's where it's too. I tied envy really close to jealousy for some reason, and I don't know if I should be tying them together so much. Big things. That's true. With money comes problems. Like people who have curly hair want straight hair, and people who have straight hair want curly hair.
Like when you're jealous of someone, like you legitimately want what that person has. Pick you up, throw you down, take your keys, and drive away, per se. Just you don't know what anyone's true story is.
I feel like envy drove a lot of my goals as a kid. Like hanging around my cousin.
Oh, absolutely.
Him and I would always be
Especially
into
as
something
kids.
random. Oh my gosh, huge.
Well, yeah.
You
see firefighters and action stars and like baseball players. Like it's always these big people who can do all this stuff, and you're a kid and you can't do anything.
But it wasn't a bad thing because you could pretend.
Mm-hmm.
And
exactly.
Some things you could do, like be an awesome roller skater, even though all you can do is a 180 and roller skate backwards.
Dude, when you do that first jump, you feel like that superstar.
Right.
It doesn't like you went. You went this high off the ground, but you feel like you went as high as they did, like on their first thing. It's like to you, it's
It's all about what you're using these driving forces for, right? Even if it is envious, you're envious of all these places that have nice, clean outside earths. Crick, you do that. You're envious of places that look nice and they're serene, and you're sick of seeing trash in your place. So you're cleaning your place so that your place will look nice, but also because you're envious of how the air quality probably is at these places where there's less pollution and stuff.
The power is yours.
That is like a basic driving force, or you could use it as admiration. It's however you look at it.
I admire nature and I want to see more of it. Like it's a little bit of both.
That healthy. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. I honestly, going into this, I thought there were two polar opposites too. It was really Smokey's question that made me question it.
What do you think pushes people over that line? Pushes that line from being just envious of somebody to be literally just
I think it's a lot of
greedy.
Time how informed you are, and if you actually
and
know
I think
the person,
it depends on how you see that person. Like if you see, like, to just give an example per se, you see like you're walking down the road and you see like someone drives up to you in a Lamborghini per se and gets out of the car and they're just a complete jerk. They're like yelling and screaming, not at you, but just like at like life. And they're just like trying to like get attention per se. And you're just like, and they're like 6 or 7 years younger than you. And they're like a little bit smaller than you. So you're just, so like this little asswipe per se. And you see like this person drives up in and like, you're like, you don't know what they do for a living. So you don't know how they have that Lamborghini, but most people that drive a Lamborghini have a reason to be able to drive a Lamborghini.
Sometimes,
so that's why
unless they don't have the money and they're just buying and they owe a bunch of money.
Well, hopefully for the sake of the scenario, it's not a rental. Like this person legitimately does make enough money and has achieved success. And for whatever reason, they are just the way that they are. But in that flash second, that happens, and you see this person, and you think to yourself, like, what did you do wrong that you don't have the success that person has? Because this person drives up in a flashy car per se.
Right. 100%. I've noticed I did that a lot more when I was younger too.
That's where I've had to like kind of correct
do that.
And some people you talk to and they're just like, well, yeah, like, and if the person's just like yelling at me, it's just like, pick you up, throw you down, take your keys and drive away. But like, not everyone, but I mean, at the end of the day, to each their own.
that's where I feel like I've had to correct myself recently too, because like growing up without a lot, like I don't know if it came from a place of envy or whatever, but it came from definitely a place of like jealousy towards people who had a lot, where I'd catch myself being like painting a picture of them based on an action just because they had money. Well, of course that's how it is, because they just don't care, because they have all this money and they just don't care. You know what I mean? And
We own so much stuff, it's easier just to brand everything that not ours.
Please don't do that.
you got to watch that in every sense, because that isn't everybody in any sense. There is some people who think like that, but it's
you don't know what anyone's true story is. And I think it'll be funny that, like, especially like with my job in some of the areas that I drive for my pizza deliveries, like they're like really, really nice neighborhoods with like mansions and stuff. And I'll just like play like a drama show in my mind, like of like this family that's just like going through like this like awful time, something terribly dramatic that it's just like shocking the family. And as I see these like as I see these multi-million-dollar mansions and stuff that I'm like passing through, and I'm just like, that could be a sitcom, and that could be a sitcom, and that person probably cheated on their wife, and this person probably buried her husband. And just like thinking of all this like random stuff.
That's the side they don't portray. Like you said in those meetings, all those people that had those nice houses and those big things. That's true. With money comes problems. Like it's just time and time again, you can see that. And it's like, they don't talk about that when they're bragging about the good sides. They're not going to tell you about the dark sides that come from having money and things like that
God,
too.
no.
So
God,
it's
no.
like, that's where you got to be careful with
Because
your
then
envy,
it would
because you
turn
don't
you
see
away.
that side. Right. You
Right.
don't see that. And you don't see that when you're blinded by jealousy, blinded by like, you know, this distraction. I think that's where it's too. I tied envy really close to jealousy for some reason, and I don't know if I should be tying them together so much.
I think once again, jealousy is like competition. It falls somewhere in the middle, right?
Something,
Jealousy
yeah,
and
because
admiration
like,
can kind
yeah,
of be the same
like
thing.
like when you're jealous of someone, like you legitimately want what that person has, but at the end of the day, you don't know what, like you just know one little aspect of this person because of this possession per se, or whatever it is that you want from this person that this person has. You don't know all the rest of their black book. You don't know all the rest of their history, all of everything else that they have, in order to be able to have whatever it is that you also want. So you just kind of have to look at it as more of like a, what can I do to also have, but like not necessarily like I wish I had, like what can I do to have.
That made me think of the big battle that I feel like it's gone on forever. It's like people who have curly hair want straight hair, and people who have straight hair want curly hair, because you think the other one's so great, but anybody who has one or the other wants the opposite, because they both
Grass is
are
always
hard
greener,
news.
right?
Exactly. And it's like,
100%.
appreciate what you have and do with what you have, you know?
Appreciate what you have. Control what is in your means of control.
Yeah.
I feel like people that drive Fords secretly want to drive Chevys and vice versa.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's, yeah.
Because at the end of the day, your car is still going to break and it's going to be easy to repair.
I love you.
Yep.
At least from those two.
For
And
now.
everything's a break.
We'll
Yeah.
see.